Hey there, Mike Robbins here, coming to you live. It's been a few weeks, but I'm here on LinkedIn and YouTube and wanted to check in. Actually, the theme of the video and the conversation I want to have today is about checking in. Here we are as I'm doing this live video. It's March 31st. It's 9:30 in the morning on the West Coast where I am. It's the last day of the first quarter. And I want to talk about checking in and the importance of that kind of on three different levels, or maybe more, we'll see. But the first level, as far as just kind of the importance of checking in with ourselves. Like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What's going on inside your heart, inside your mind? Just how are you? And, as simple of a question as that is, or a concept, I know for me, sometimes it can be really hard to slow down enough to check in. I mean, what's weird about this whole last year plus with COVID has been, on the one hand, it's been kind of a forced pause, a forced slowing down, a forced staying at home and working from home. And so the pace of my life, and I'm assuming yours, has changed quite a bit. The nature of it, the rhythm of it, right? I'm not running to the airport. I'm not running to meetings. I'm not going to parties and events and taking the girls to school and events, although some of that has started back up a little bit in a modified way as the world opens up and, we're all getting vaccinated and things are moving and changing. But what's interesting is, and again, it's been over a year, but I have found that the pace has been weird and odd, and my days end up being sort of full, lots of Zoom meetings and lots of things to get done and sort of phases of the day that, if I'm not mindful of it, which at times I'm not doing the best job of really checking in with myself, of doing some of the personal practices that I know are really important, my meditation practice, my journaling practices, my just breathing and walking. And so what can you do? What can we do to really check in with ourselves, to ask ourselves, how am I feeling? This is actually a really good technique, which is put our hands on our heart. It actually physiologically calms us down, lowers our cortisol level. But just close our eyes and ask ourselves, how am I feeling? How am I doing? So a check-in with ourselves on a regular basis, multiple times a day, at least once a day, write in our journal, meditate, close our eyes, put our hands on our heart, just to really check in. Now, another aspect of checking in with ourselves has to do with the end of the quarter, and this can relate to ourselves as well as our team and the people around us. But here we are, the end of the quarter. This has been, yet again, a very strange quarter. Although in my experience, this new year, while the changing of the calendar on January 1st didn't magically, turn everything around, but I have felt a different level of energy and momentum and optimism and hopefulness over the course of this first quarter of the year. Hey, Cassandra, good to see you. Yeah, if you're joining live either on LinkedIn or on YouTube, feel free to just chime in with a comment. Let me know where you are, how you are. If you're checking in with yourself, what's going on for you. But this first quarter of the year has been interesting, right? To me, 2021, again, look, there's a lot going on for a lot of people. It's continued to be a really intense and challenging time in so many ways. Politically here in the US, I mean, think of how the year started, January 6th, and then we had the inauguration of a new president. And then just in terms of the pandemic and so many things changing, and in terms of business, this feels like a transition or rebuilding type year so far. That my sense about my own life, my own business is like, it's going to take some time to rebuild, to transition, to heal, to move through some of the challenge, the damage, if you will, of last year. But that's happening. Again, all of us are in different places. Again, we're all in the same storm. We're in different boats, as I like to say. But how has this quarter gone for you? Did you set goals at the beginning of the year? Which I know was harder to do for a lot of us, given how crazy and uncertain things had been all through 2020 and not really knowing what 2021 would hold. But if you did set goals for yourself personally, can you do a check-in on those goals, on those intentions here at the first quarter marker, so to speak? From a business standpoint, right? If you work for a business of any kind, I mean, it's the end of the quarter. We look at revenue goals. We look at where we are relative to the plan for the year. And I think it's a good time to just check in, evaluate, reevaluate. Do we need to make any adjustments with our goals, with our targets, with where we're at? Take some inventory. I was doing a little bit of that this morning. I'll be doing a little more of that in the coming days. I think it's a really important thing for us to do. Again, checking in personally. How am I doing? How am I feeling? What's going on in my mind and my heart? What do I need? And then checking in with our goals more practically, more specifically with our business, with our team. Hey, let's stop and take a little pause and reflect on the quarter. And as we plan for Q2 and the rest of the year, it's good to sort of evaluate where we are. But the third aspect of checking in that I think is really important is checking in with the people around us. Like really checking in. Hey, Casey, nice to see you. Yeah, 2021 is a rebuilding year. Necessary, but not always easy, right, Casey? I agree with you, absolutely. But can we check in with the people around us? Like, look, I mean, we talk to people, and again, it might be weird and still disrupted in a way that it's only on Zoom or it's on text or it's on the phone or FaceTime or email, which, by the way, we used all of those platforms and ways of communication pre-COVID, of course, but now that's the primary way that we connect with people, which is challenging. Not as fulfilling, at least for me. Although there's parts of it that are actually kind of nice that I enjoy in a way, but I do miss meeting with people in person. I definitely miss speaking at events in person, and I'm looking forward to hugs and handshakes and high fives and just gathering. But can we check in with the people around us, the people in our families, the people we live with, the people that we're connected to personally, whether we get to see them yet or not? And when I mean check in, it's not simply just sending a text message, although that's fine to do, but really asking, how are you? How's your heart? What's going on for you down below the waterline on the iceberg, so to speak? And giving them space to respond to that, sharing a bit about what's going on for you so that we're connecting authentically and really checking in with people. You know, I've shared this story many times over the years in my books and when I speak, and maybe even here on one of these live videos that I've done, but it's a really important reminder. You know, I heard Oprah Winfrey speak a number of years ago, and she said this really simple but profound thing that to me epitomizes the importance of really checking in and connecting with people. She said, I've interviewed thousands and thousands and thousands of people in my career. I've interviewed everybody: presidents, prime ministers, celebrities, children, people who've gone through tragedies, people who've been incarcerated, people who've done heroic things, people, everyday people, you name the type of person. Oprah said, I've interviewed them. And after all these years and all these interviews, do you know that just about every single person I've ever interviewed asks me some version of the same question when the interview's over? The camera shuts off, they lean over and they say, how'd I do? Or was that okay? Some version of that question. How'd I do? Was that okay? And she said, you know, early in my career, I used to be really confused by this question because I'd be sitting across from someone who's very successful, very accomplished, and I'd be wondering to myself, are they really that insecure? Do they really need my validation? Like, what is that? Why are they asking me how they did? She goes, then I realized something. They're not actually asking me how they did. You know what they're really asking me? Did you see me? Did you hear me? Did what I say matter to you? She said, and I agree with her, everybody's asking those questions all the time. It doesn't matter who they are, how confident they may seem, how accomplished they are, how experienced or inexperienced they may be. People want to know that they're seen and that they're heard, and not just what they say, but who they are matters. And one of the ways that we can do that on a regular basis with the people that we work with the people that we live with the important people in our lives, is to check in with them. Not with any agenda necessarily, except to just connect, to support. And look, I know a lot of us, myself included, are feeling a bit energetically and emotionally depleted these days. as I often say, and I have been the last few months, I don't think any of us are playing with a full deck emotionally. And what often can happen when we check in with others is it can replenish us and them. It's a virtuous cycle. It's a win-win. But we've got to do it from our heart, and we got to do it authentically, and do it in support of others, and also in support of ourselves, and in support of the relationships that matter most. So check in with ourselves. Personally, how are we feeling? What are we thinking? What's going on? Meditate, journal, walk, breathe. Check in with our goals as this quarter comes to an end, for ourselves personally, for our team, for our business. See how we're doing. And check in with the people around us all the time. Such an important practice for us personally, for our success, for our business, for the people that matter most, that we live with and that we work with. So thanks for watching. If you joined live, it's nice to connect with you this way live. If you're watching the video of this after, thanks for watching that. Feel free to leave a comment or a question, or share anything you want, a suggestion for something you want me to talk about in the future. And you can always stay connected with me at our website, which is mike-robbins.com. Take care.